But first, Georgia's faith leaders temporarily tabling plans to boycott 3 Georgia-based corporations for not taking a stronger stance against the state's new election law. That boycott was supposed to start today. Instead, the group is planning to meet with corporate leaders next week in hopes of being able to present a more united front against the law. Joe Ripley joining us live in Midtown Atlanta at this noon. And Joe, faith leaders say one of the corporations has agreed to arrange this virtual meeting.
Yeah, it was actually the CEO of Coca-Cola that reached out on behalf of these corporations and signed on to this meeting next week, trying to avoid a boycott, a possible boycott. And Bishop Reginald Jackson of the 6th District of the AME Church actually leading the efforts here in this potential boycott, calling it off at least for now, in the hopes of reaching some sort of agreement next week with several corporations. And he says Delta, Coke, Home Depot, AT&T, Southern Company, UPS, and Aflac are all going to come to the table next Tuesday. He says he's asking these companies to do the following. These include speaking out against Georgia's new voting law, criticizing more than 300 proposed voting laws nationwide that Jackson says are restrictive, support federal legislation that would expand the right to vote, as well as support any lawsuits against Georgia's new voting law. Jackson says faith leaders have a responsibility to stand up for voting rights among people of color, and he says companies cannot afford to stay on the sidelines.
People of color in this country have economic power. And I think these businesses do not want to suffer the negative effect of that power.
Jackson says he believes that it was the threat of boycott that brought these companies to the table and kept them from being silent on this voting rights issue. He says this meeting is going to be closed doors between the faith leaders as well as the corporations. He said, though, just because a boycott may take place doesn't mean people's choices are taken away. But he personally could not stand to give money to corporations that did not support the right to vote.